welcome to Critical Tumblr, where a bunch of longtime friends and nerdy-ass Tumblr users transcend geography through the power of Skype to play Dungeons & Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Last week, they finally arrived at the Chasm after unfortunate issues with twig blights, centaurs, pixies, polymorph, and temporary death. There were trials. There was a jumping puzzle that Nora, both in and out of character, was distinctly displeased with. As I tried to explain, I never said this would be easy. The fact that I managed to hit on the one thing that would be the most troublesome kind of impresses me. I won't lie.
What was it? Entirely by accident you found you went for Dex?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god.
I've never told anyone. I don't talk about my issues with jumping puzzles. I just hate them.
If it helps, I'm the same way. I had Smeagol do all of mine in the secret world, except for the cost of magic, and Ethan watched me go through that.
Yeah, my husband does all my jumping puzzles in games because I can't do it.
Anyway, after that and a fairly unfortunate encounter with a banshee, they finally reached the what they presume at this stage to be the dwelling place of Nessor, the androsphinx that dwells in the heart of the chasm. They've literally only just finished besting the banshee, despite two unconsciousnesses and a whole lot of damage having been thrown in people's directions, although not as bad as it could be because of Hazel and her finally remembered staff of healing.
Health yo-yos!
And they have just been told, come and greet Nessor.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of push myself up off the floor where I'd fallen down, and thanks, Darvin, a lot, and Clarity, you too. I think you really saved my life, quite literally. I thank you. I think we should, that way.
Norman, the badger, who was also brought out at that point, sort of bumbles up to Clarity, sits down, and looks kind of disappointed in himself, because he couldn't even reach the...
I'm going to pat him on the head as I walk by.
You're all right, Norman. Pick him up and just sort of carry him around.
Badgers are not that small, just so that you're aware.
Baby-like.
So Nora's going up. So actually, if it actually lets me move the stupid map, what are you doing? Oh, for pity's sake. There we go.
Can I start humming the Jeopardy theme? There we go.
Oi!
Oh my.
It's a fairly long corridor that
my.
you actually have to navigate. So do talk amongst yourselves while I actually move you. I told you this was a large map.
Yes, you did.
Yep. But yes, there's a good 5-minute walk as you navigate the corridors, and nobody else actually says anything to you. It's just that is where you are by that point. So I'm assuming Nora's in the lead.
Yes, that's my intention.
Okay, I'll sort of.
I am relatively close behind.
I can imagine you would be, all things considered. Okay.
I don't know what the hell that thing was.
I'm eyeing Nora and just concerned that she's going to start yo-yoing again in terms of her health.
I don't know what that thing was we just got through, but it may not have been worthy, but Nora is.
Thank you, Darvin. Thanks. I am. Thank you. I'm just kind of blushing a little bit.
Oh, look, they're being adorable.
Hush you.
I would do the finger in the ear, but I remember what happened when
Not
you tried it.
here.
Exactly.
Not here.
I remember. I'm crazy, not stupid.
Yes, particularly as you're continuing to move through these corridors, and it is feeling more and more, well, frankly, holy, at least to these two. For the rest of you, Furseth has a sense of it because he's used to a reverent hush. The other two, Clarity's heard something sort of similar in libraries. Darvin, this is very heavy quiet. This is very, very heavy quiet.
Clarity is very visibly uncomfortable.
Odd.
I'm walking over and putting an arm around her shoulders best I can, even
And
though
I'm
I'm
gonna-
shorter.
Kind of stop for a second and turn, just touch her arm. It's gonna be okay. You know that
Fine.
you're welcome here.
If you say so.
You
I
are.
wouldn't have saved you if you weren't. I heard what happened.
Let's just get on with it.
Eventually, you come into this. It's a fairly huge room, but it's much better lit than
Okay.
everything else in it. I can actually now drop the fog of war.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, like I said, large, incredibly large.
Well, that wow was in character.
Yeah. We're gonna have to move you guys a little bit further in because yes, there's a certain amount of large symbol marking on the floor that one imagines that Nora at least could probably make sense of, and she can actually stop more or less in the middle of it, and at the front, right about there.
Whoa. Oh.
That is, yes, that is the androsphinx. It's very
All right.
large. It is very much what they had in mind when they invented the word majestic. It's sort of a golden brown and a good 20 feet long, and he sits there, looks at you all. You have proved your need, small ones. Now speak it. What would you have of Nessor?
I come for the beacon of Palor.
The beacon.
Yes.
The beacon will only be held by a worthy lady paladin. Greetings, paladin. And I greet your companions, all of whom are more worthy to wield the beacon than you. Paladin, you have tried to teach your companions, yes?
Yes, I have.
There is much to teach from a platform of stability, of privilege. What you have not done is let them teach you. You shine, you comfort, you protect, and you bring light. But for one who stands for the sun itself, there is one other thing to learn, which your friends have learned through bitter experience, all unknowing. The sun rises, and so must you. Thus, your test of worth, young human, can you learn from them? Would you learn to rise?
Yes.
The Sphinx looks at you for a moment, nods, and then gets up. And when it was just sitting, it was big enough. Now it's moving. It approaches and looks towards Hazel. Cleric, I need not ask this of you. Your life is given to Palor, experiences and all, to be used as he sees fit. However, as you do a service to your god, so shall your god reward you. In return for the insight you grant in time of need, you shall be granted the same, a moment of insight, a moment of knowing that will aid you in times to come. Then turns to Froseth. Dragonborn, your life is not given to Palor. I cannot simply use your experience in the name of he whom I serve. So I ask, as with the cleric, in return for the insight you give, you shall have a moment of insight that will be of aid to you. Will you grant your experience to the cause of your friend's test of worth?
I will.
Looks to Darvin. Clearly, same question, same offer.
Without question.
Looks to Clarity.
Yes.
The Sphinx nods. Turns to the stones that are set around and sort of gives you guys a little bit of a nudge to be standing outside of that circle. He taps 4 of them. The first one lights up a sort of a silver. And Froseth feels warmth and a sort of an apology for a moment. A sort of a, I'm sorry to be intrusive, this is necessary, from something all-encompassing, but kind in its way. Then, another lights up the color of Clarity's eyes. The purple of Darvin's fairy fire. The green of Hazel's hairbow. Clearly, that is the order in which Nora is expected to start.
Okay. Can I pull out my primer and look at what these symbols are on the floor?
You can. I would want you to make a perception check.
Okay. I haven't popped my thing out yet. Perception. 15.
It's effectively a fairly... It's a ritual circle of a kind you haven't seen.
Okay.
It's nothing dangerous that you can tell. The most you can see of it in terms of what it says is, "Here stands the worthy." It's not lit up or anything. It's entirely possible that that's how you'll know.
Okay.
Nessor does turn around to you and say, unlike your friends, you can turn some of what you are about to experience away. It is something you are allowed to do. What testament that makes to your worth is another question. Begin.
Okay, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to test my worth and to prove it. I appreciate it.
I am not the one you should be thanking. You will see why.
I'm going to walk forward and touch. I'm assuming I need to touch the silver stone, so I'm going to walk forward.
Basically, it's a hand in the fire thing.
Okay, I'm going to walk forward to the silver stone there at the southwest and touch it.
Okay, the first thing is you can make a wisdom saving throw. Do you?
No.
That is 3 points of psychic damage.
Okay.
And all of this, what comes next, it's not something you see or hear or feel or know. It's something you feel. It's like everything I'm about to describe is happening to you, in you. You are a young stranger in the only place you've ever known. The claws on your fingers and toes, the teeth in your mouth, the tail, they have all taught you caution beyond most of those your age. Your own name fits oddly in your mouth, though it at least matches those around you, even if your appearance doesn't. They're kind, these robed folks around you. That doesn't entirely erase the feeling of being an outsider, though you suppose it could be worse. It's usually so quiet here, in this place where everyone looks so different than you. Not today, though. Today, a traveling peddler has been through, and he's brought letters. Not many, but a few. Mostly to the few other aspiring young monks with whom you study every day. Letters from family, some with little packages attached, all full of news and questions and well wishes. This early on, you still hope for a letter that the wiser part of you knows is never coming. You've never had a family, or at least none that you can remember. The older monks tell tales of you being left on the doorstep for the monks to take in and raise. It's hard not to wonder why, particularly on days when letters come in. Why leave you here and not a house like the ones these humans came from? Why leave you here at all? Why didn't they want you? What's wrong with you that they didn't want you? It would be easy to close off that whole avenue of thought over years of training. You've lived without family. It can't be that important on the whole. It would be easy to be bitter. But you turn away from the darker path of bitterness and envy. You still accept family as something precious, something to be defended even when outside of it, and more so when within it. That is how you rise. It fades. The light goes out.
Hang on, I've got a kid. Sorry, it's a surprise kid. Sorry, John is sick. We've had a virus going around, and
Yeah.
it's John's turn to have caught it. So he's out of commission.
That's okay.
Okay, so that's how I rise. First off, I'm sorry. This wasn't my experience in life, but I can appreciate yours and what this all means to you, and I am sorry if you have ever felt like I didn't take that seriously. If that's ever been the case,
No. I've never had reason to think you've meant any ill with anything you've ever said to me. It's
Of course, none of the rest
just how I grew up.
Yeah, actually, none of the rest of you know. That was just all, and you can probably guess, but.
Yeah.
Okay, then on to the next. On to Clarity's eyes up there in the northwest.
Okay, you can make a wisdom save, do you?
No.
1 point of psychic damage. You are a freak. That is how it is, and how it has always been. For reasons you don't entirely understand yet, the blood of the infernal runs through your veins. You're not bad. At least you don't think you're bad. The problem is that everyone else does. You have no idea what happened to your family, but they must not have wanted you. The family that took you in must not have really wanted you either. Your brother in everything but blood, he wanted you. He was the only one who did. But now he's gone. You don't know why. The world wants to blame you. You want to blame yourself. But you can't. That doesn't make sense. He's the only person you ever really loved, the only one who loved you back. You'd never hurt him. That is what you cling to when the rest of the world wants to tear that one certainty away, when they blame and shun you because of your horns, your eyes, your tail, every unnatural part of you. So there you are, alone with your few certainties, that you were a freak and that you didn't do any harm to your brother. These certainties are fragile as they stand, so you seek out more. You seek out knowledge, understanding, clarity. That is your mantra, so much your touchstone that it soon becomes your name. You do not embody it as well as you could yet, but you will. Even when uncertainty looms large again, when a whole family loves you so much you can't help but love them back, when a god rises up and gives you back your very life in token that perhaps you are not damned by your blood, you cling to that need for answers. You don't understand their love, the halflings, the children's, the gods, but you're determined you will. Someday you will. It's so hard to accept after a life of distrust and fear, but if the bad does not cease to exist because it is not understood, neither will the good. That is how you rise.
Could you please repeat the very last sentence? I'm trying to take notes and I got distracted by a dog.
Sorry. It's so hard to accept after a life of distrust and fear, but if the bad does not cease to exist because it is not understood, neither will the good.
Okay. Cool. Guinevere, let the dog out, please.
Yes, ma'am. I think goes now.
Guinevere.
That's my daughter. Have I ever told you guys that?
It's a lovely name.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of look at Clarity at this point and I still remember what I said to you on the coast. I know evil and you aren't, and how you were born isn't your fault. It's not a choice. You choose who you are, who you become. The choices you make are what define you, not your birth. And you aren't bad. We love you for who you are, for the choices you have made, for the person you are. And we'll keep loving you until you feel like you understand it. We will. And we'll be here and we will stand through it with you.
Thank you. I'm not quite sure what you saw, but all of it, all of you, it's sometimes a thing that I still don't understand, how you all exist and how you all like me.
I'm going to hug Clarity now.
Because you're funny and smart and adorably flaily in ways that don't usually lead to us having terrible encounters with awful things, and you're
crockery.
wonderful. Yeah, that too.
I'm
Okay.
sure the crockery had it coming.
I don't know that the innkeeper would have agreed, but see, there's a wonderful example of your sense of humor.
I find crockery inspirational.
Not quite as inspirational as bunnies. All right.
I'm
On
not
to
going to be able
Darvin's.
to breathe when this is over, guys. Thank you.
Wanda Darvin's gonna reach forward and touch it, and I'm not gonna roll the saving throw. They do experience it. I need to too.
Four points of psychic damage.
Okay.
Makes sense. You are a boy with a viol in your hands on which the fingers are blistered and bleeding. This is new. This is something your hands have not done enough yet. It can never be enough, though, and the pain is worth it. This is music. This is creation of something glorious and beautiful and yours, and anything is worth it to be able to do this the way you want to. But there's a smack on your shoulder, jostling blisters against strings, and one sharply spoken word. Again. You're a boy just entering his teens, all rebellion and fire, and you're kept like an exotic bird in a cage by a father who would turn the thing you love most in all the world into a chore, just a job, something to be done for the technical perfection alone and not the joy of it. He doesn't understand. He doesn't even try. He knows what he thinks is best, and he's wrong, and he'll never admit it, never even realize how much this dismissal of what you love hurts. And it hurts. It's a shredding of the heart that no boy can ever admit. You have options. You can do one of the two things he wants, follow in his footsteps, or be the rote musician he wants. You could make him proud, but you love what you love, and what he wants would kill that. So you take the pain, take the hurt, and follow your heart. You tell this man whose good regard you want so badly to stuff it, not because of some petty teenage rebellion, but because some things matter more. It still hurts, that lack of a father's pride, but your love of the music grows so strong that it becomes something more, becomes magic. There will always be a disapproving glare at the back of your mind. Maybe nothing you ever do will ever be quite good enough to make it go away. Still, you take pride in yourself, in spite of even your own head telling you that you are not living up to expectations. That is how you rise.
Darvin, I have wonderful parents. I do. And I have never felt guiltier for it than I have in what I have seen so far from all of you. And I'm sure it's not going to be easier with Hazel. But, you know, the one thing my parents always told me that you need to know is you are enough. You are good enough. You always will be. Who you are is so important. What you love is important. Finding fulfillment in it is important. And don't ever let the love go. Don't. Use it every day. Every day. In everything you do, the love and the joy, let them shine. And don't listen to anyone who tells you that you shouldn't or you can't. They don't know. They don't understand. They will if you show them. And it takes you showing them. So don't stop. Ever.
I'm supposed to be the one that's good with words.
Ethan. I think I broke Ethan.
Oh, God.
I think I broke Ethan.
Yeah, both y'all.
There goes Bard.
Yeah, and I'm
Hang on
supposed to be
2
the one
seconds.
that's good with words.
I'm gonna shove the dog back in the room while Ethan recovers. Hang on.
Yeah, there's that.
While she's doing that, and Clarity puts a hand on his shoulder and just sort of awkwardly rubs it.
I'm going to detach from Clarity and proceed to hug Darvin.
Yeah, no words needed, really. Just gonna leave it at that.
I think DM's gonna slowly break the party at the rate
I am
this is.
so sorry.
It's
Okay, well, I'm
Nora.
helping her. Inadvertently, I'm helping her. So, hey. All right, so I'm going to move on to Hazel's.
You know what I'm going to ask?
I'm not going to do it.
2 points of psychic damage. You are a 5-year-old girl alone in a smallish room. It's comfortable, one supposes, but small and basic. There is one window. You have never left this room. You don't know the words prison or oubliette. What you know is that this is a room where the forgotten and unwanted things are thrown and hidden away. You've never seen the sun without a veil of trees and curtains. You don't even know what the sun is. You know very little, in fact, just that you're too clumsy, too awkward, too human to be wanted. You're not even worth being a servant. Your mother said so, and she clearly didn't care that you could hear. She doesn't want you. No one could ever have made that more clear than the elegant woman with the hair like fire and the eyes like polished mahogany who glares from the doorway like you're some small animal who made a mess on the carpet, the one whose face is very faintly visible in your own. You don't have a name. You have never had a name. A name only comes when your mother finally finds a way to be rid of you for good. That day is terrifying. For the first time, you leave that smallish room, step through a doorway in a tree, and into a clearing place, with houses on the ground, and the plants arranged just so, and 2 women only a little taller than you, at whom your mother unceremoniously throws you. You're asked your name, and there is terror. Will they want you if you don't have one? Probably not. No one wants you. Your mother tosses the first name that comes to mind her way, like she has all of your meals for years. And for the first time, there is kindness. One of little women smiles and brushes the hair that has always just been called troublesome out of your face, tying it back a little with the biggest and prettiest green ribbon you've ever seen. The other steps up to your imposing, impossible-to-please mother with a look like daggers and tells her to get off their property and to stay away from their daughter from now on. It takes a moment to realize that their daughter means you. They are your mothers now. You walked in the sun, and the sun took the bad away and brought love, a lesson that will soon become your faith. There will always be the fear that any mistake, any accident, anything less than perfect or useful will see you abandoned. There will always be the need to try too hard, do too much, hold those you care for too close, and ask in every way but the verbal for them please to not throw you away. But still you try, and struggle with the clumsiness of the hopelessly overzealous, and reach out to heal and comfort and love a world that at first didn't even want to know you existed. And that is how, every day, you rise.
I'm going to warn you right now, this one's hitting a little close to home out of character. Hazel, I know I'm sometimes, often, almost always very, very impatient with you, and I haven't told you yet. I meant to, and then we got distracted, and that's my fault. How sorry I am, because you don't always do things wrong. I could learn so much from you in just your exuberance of love and the way that you absolutely love everyone and everything except cultists and barons.
All right.
And
It's all right.
I know that I'm often impatient and cranky when I feel like you aren't being careful enough. And it's my feeling that I'm not seeing that as a boon rather than a hindrance. And you know I love you, yeah?
Yeah. Like I said, it's all right. It takes me long to learn. Everyone learns how they learn. Take as long as you need to. Doesn't matter to me.
I'm imperfect. I never had to deal with... I grew up in a tavern. It had to work like clockwork. People had to be fed. Things had to be done. I don't necessarily always do well with chaos. At least not chaos that I can't control.
Everyone has things they're not entirely good at dealing with. And hey, we can get past that one way or another.
So I'm gonna
Nessor.
back around
Nessor's-
and face him.
Yeah. He steps up. So he's about 5 feet away, outside of the circle. What have you learned, Paladin?
I have learned that I need to love more and to continue to try and to defend even more outside than within. Family is so important. It can't be forsaken. That bad things don't cease to exist because they're not understood, and good won't either. Good will always be there, even if the whys and the wherefores aren't totally understood. I've learned that I have to continue fighting even when I feel like I'm not enough or like I have failed. And I have learned that despite everything, I have to keep trying, and that I have to love despite everything. Despite failings, despite frustrations.
You acknowledge you have them,
Yes.
and you work to move past them.
Yes.
That is how you rise. The circle around you and the celestial words begin to glow. They become blinding for a moment, and when that glow fades, there lies a broadsword. It's actually pretty simple for a broadsword. The inscription on it, the one that has, the one you've heard from Bardic tales, that's Palor's Beacon. I think you two will do well together, says Nessor, and steps back.
Thank you.
For the rest of you, I made a promise. I keep my promises. Those lights light up again, each matched to their individual colors. The cleric first, this time.
I'm going to walk over and touch the stone.
As the light fades, what you see is it's a settlement. The houses are quite small. kind of hearth home size. There's a hint of the coast on the horizon, and a bunch of halflings in the town square, geared for war, but pacing like they can't get to where they need to be. There's one halfling, male, dark hair, talking to a woman that doesn't look too dissimilar to Miranda, just older, explaining we can't send any more in. No one comes back. We have to accept that this is what has actually happened and we need to turn around for more help. The woman is effectively just, we don't have anyone to turn to. You know who we can turn to. She abandoned her duty to be with that woman and go off and fight in a war that's not even in our country. She is dead to me. And with that, the image fades. What Hazel now knows is that, yeah, there's a halfling community. They have some idea of what's going on. And they're apparently not asking for help out of some really stupid, misplaced sense of pride.
Oh boy. That's going to be a thing.
I'm gonna reach over and just touch the back of her shoulder. You're reassuring, like.
The bard.
Okay.
Your mic.
Your mic's flipped up.
Sorry. I will. I'll reach out and touch the stone.
What you see is probably not terribly reassuring. It's somewhere in the mist. There are undead and stranger things only half seen in the fog, shambling. You see that house, and wandering its corridors is a woman. Her dress was fine once, now it's in tatters. She looks approximately human, but like she's been buried in seaweed for about a week. That is what has become of your mother. And the giant sphinx actually looks apologetic somewhere in that majestic face.
At least I know.
I'm gonna go hug him.
At least I know.
The rogue.
Reach out and touch the stone.
You can't see where this is, or very much about any of the surroundings, but what you see is a young man that you just about recognize after a second. It's been years, but you'd know Henry anywhere. He looks abused, battered. You can't tell where he is, but you know that this is now, and that he's alive.
Clarity.
Running over, hugging
Go
again.
on, yep. Moving that way.
Dragonborn?
He looks at the reactions everyone else has just had. It's like,
Insight isn't always a pretty thing.
do I want to know?
It answers a question you've had. How will you feel if you walk away?
I'm gonna reach out and just kind of hold his hand for a second while I'm still hanging on to clarity. Hold his hand. We're here with you.
We got you.
After a moment, he'll go and touch the stone.
Unlike with the others, his vision's not of now. His vision is apparently of 16 years ago, to judge by the chaos on an icy field in an icy city. And 2 silver dragonborn, 1 male, 1 female, dressed in moderate finery, but not anything too ostentatious. A little scorched and ripped now, holding in their arms a small, swaddled dragonborn child who they hand to a stocky sort of female dwarf who's haversack on her back, dressed for a long trip. Basically, the female dragonborn thrusts the infant, who's clearly you, at the dwarf and says, we'd come if we could take him and go. Make sure he knows. We just wanted him to just tell him we love him. Go! You have at least seen the faces of your parents.
Well, he basically just like goes down to his knees and visibly shakes, like no words.
I have no idea who I need to hug more right now, so I'm going to go over to Froseth.
Yeah.
Clarity goes and kneels beside him and puts an arm around him.
I'm gonna sit next to him and just kind of hold his hand. Because.
You have much to discuss, and in need of comfort that this place cannot offer you. There is one more boon that I can grant you. I understand that you have associates who it was unsafe for them to come this far. I can take them too. Where do you want to go?
Hearth home, right?
Hazel, you ready to go home?
Very ready to go home.
Let's go home.
And with that, perhaps you might wish to collect your associates first. I'd hate to not warn them.
Oh,
It will be a bit of a walk, but once you get there and have warned your associates of what is to happen, simply say the name of the place you wish to go 3 times, and I will send you there.
Oh boy.
Whatever you believe or do not, belief is not required. You don't have to believe in the gods when they believe in you. Now take up your sword and wield it justly.
I will. And I go grab it.
As your hand touches the hilt, you all hear this, thankfully, so it's not. There's no worry of Nora going insane. Hello.
Yet.
What?
Wait. Huh?
It's been quite some time. You've gone muted, or either that or you're just.
Sorry, no, I got muted. I've been muting when the kids are taking notes and stuff. Hello, you speak. I didn't know swords could speak.
Beacon.
I do many things, which we will discuss when you're all a little less upset. For now,
Okay.
I will ask one thing. Find me a decent scabbard.
Absolutely. It will be the first thing I do.
That we
when
can definitely do. You're gonna
back.
love Jenna.
Yeah, I was
that
about
was
to
my
say.
Jenna was where I wanted to go. So.
Hazel, we're on the same page.
And with that, Nessor steps back, and you wouldn't imagine that a being that large could just sort of melt into the shadows and vanish, but that's exactly what he does, leaving this big, empty room.
Where'd the
I'm not gonna
giant
ask.
cat
I'm not gonna
go?
ask.
No.
Giant, and you hear ringing through the room, giant cats.
Hazel.
I am so sorry. I did
Nessor
not.
is an androsphinx.
Words.
And he
I'm
is
gonna
to be
shut up now before I say anything
respected.
stupid.
Yeah.
There,
We're
as
backing away.
as everybody's panicking, just as you're heading out the door, he finally resolves some of the noise into laughter.
Thank the guys. He's got a sense of or God.
Lawful good, not lawful dull, is the last thing you hear before the doors of that giant
Okay,
chamber.
I gotta remember that one. That's a great line.
Okay, I get an actual chuckle out of that one. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't either. But I think it's fair to say a lot of things have happened today that none of us expected.
Although,
True.
I don't want to be an I told you so.
Yeah.
But Nora, I did say you were worthy.
I'm gonna lean over and kiss him on the cheek.
Ah!
And I keep
Colors.
walking.
Okay.
Nora,
Yes.
jump tackle.
Hey, not here. Let's get home.
To be fair, that doesn't get any kind of disapproval, given what has just happened, what has just been, what Nora has just been through, and what she said. Finger in ear are probably a gray area. Tackle hugs are fine. It's gonna be a good 15-minute walk before you get back to the main chamber. Is there anything you want to discuss on that walk? All the traps, by the way, are vanished like they weren't even there. It's just torches along the walls.
I'm gonna need a new quarterstaff at some point. A snap mine. This was crazy. I never would have thought anything like this. I thank you, all of you, for being who you are and for your help. You've all been amazingly invaluable, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I couldn't have done it without you.
Happy to do the things. Always happy to do the things. Even if things lead to stupid.
Let's try to avoid that as much as possible, but still happy to
yeah.
have you do the things.
Clarity.
We've got one pit stop to make before we finally hit the coast.
So, I mean, I don't know if I should ask, but
I
I
don't
mean,
mean home. I mean after we stop at home.
what did,
Hazel, shush.
what did like? I mean, I know what I saw. Um, but I mean, what did? Can I ask what you guys saw?
I saw, well, what I was getting at the other pit stop, the place full of halflings that decided that
Torin was right.
What? Huh? What?
His legends, the bronze dragonborn from the fair, Torin?
Right.
He told
Yeah.
us he thought there might be. It's possible there was a clan of halflings who were set to guard things that Miranda would have come from.
and
Oh!
they booted Mama because they're stupid.
Okay. So they do exist, but
Mm-hmm.
you sound like
There's bits that you're missing. The bits where they could be asking for help and they know apparently where Miranda is, but
Yeah.
they're
We're
not
getting
asking.
to that.
It's
yeah,
hard to tell
They
with
booted her.
sometimes.
yeah.
And they're still being stupid. They're still being stupid. They're not asking for help because they're still mad
About what?
about Mama running off. Be with Mom to go fight a war that wasn't even in this country. They're being stupid.
Okay.
They are big.
They're being dumber than me.
You're not dumb, Hazel.
Yeah, I was about to say. Come on, give yourself some credit.
I'm giving myself plenty of credit. I do stupid stuff, but I don't keep doing it.
Well, not for very long.
Not exactly. Exactly. These people have been doing stupid for
However many years
40
it's been.
40 years.
time.
Fair enough. Clarity. I mean, look. I'll tell you what I didn't want to know, but now I know what happened to Mom.
Oh, Darvin.
Yeah. Trying not to think about it, okay? So that's what I saw. Some of you, like, Froseth, can I ask? I just lately we get big revelations, and it seems like it's yet another thing on the list of things we have to deal with. So it just, I just while we're all alone and don't really have to worry about people overhearing, I just kind of like to know if we're gonna have more stuff to deal with. Is all. It's the only reason I ask. If it's too personal, that's fine. And I want to be here for you guys. That's the only reason I'm asking. If you don't want to say, that's fine.
Darvin, give him space.
Sorry.
I saw the past. He doesn't say anything else.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw. It was Henry. He's alive.
Oh, is he all right? Is he okay?
He's
No, okay. Then
Not-
Oh, holy
we
cow.
find
and I don't know where he is.
But we know he's alive at least. Oh my God, that's amazing.
clarity. He's alive and he can be found.
Yes. No. Will be.
Everything was so indistinct. I didn't even see. I don't know what it. But he looks like he was in such pain, and
We'll find him. He's alive. That's the
I'm
most
telling you
important
right now, if I knew where he was right this second, I would just
thing.
be off
Hi.
now. I don't know what to do or to say right now, and I know I've got to keep my head straight, but
We will find him. We know he's alive.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Great intelligence check from all of you.
Because I was about to go somewhere in my head with that, but that's okay.
20!
That's a save.
12.
3.
Damn it, wrong button. I knew I pressed
3.
something wrong.
16.
13.
And
At least it wasn't a nat 1.
Hey, you know what? At least you match me. So,
Darvin, you can make a pretty good guess about what Froseth means when he says he saw the past,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's to do with the underlying issue behind Star Coast and the other stuff you've heard. Hazel's, clearly, same thing. Yours, clearly, same thing. There's a theme,
Mm-hmm.
which means that clarities must connect somehow.
Mm-hmm. I was actually getting to that before the intelligence check was called for. So that works. That works actually perfectly.
Yeah, so the rest of you are just trying to...
He's alive! Holy crap!
I've been through a lot,
Yeah.
and I've
Clear-
Yeah.
a little.
Yeah. Clarity. Look, what I saw, what Hazel saw, what Froseth saw, it all connects with what we're dealing with already. I don't know how yet. I don't know why, but Henry what happened there is connected somehow probably as well. I mean, the fact that all of us did, yeah, it's unlikely that it doesn't. So chances are we'll keep along the way that we're going, and
With your roles, Froseth and Clarity, yeah, he probably actually has a point. You two still aren't entirely sure, but then again, how much psychic damage did Nora take?
A lot. I was
has
at
seen-
20.
she
I had
has-
13 points of psychic damage, and
Which means
I'm
you have a massive headache, and you're kind of wavering on your feet a bit. Unfortunately, since you can't really see psychic damage, it's
I'm sure that'll make more sense when my head stops pounding.
okay, hold still.
Okay.
Just gonna basic cure wounds.
Okay.
Spell card. So that's 1d8 plus spellcasting ability modifier. That's 3 more, and then 3 more because of the level. So 11.
your head is feeling much better. You will probably feel a lot better after whatever meal is coming up next. You've kind of lost track of time by this point, because you've been down here a while. So
Thank you, Hazel. I feel a lot better. I think I need to eat. To be honest, it how long have we even been in here? Long enough.
you okay, Clarity?
No, to be honest, but
That's fair.
I mean,
Just
I have something.
Yeah.
So I'm
like we said to Froseth,
better off than I was.
Good. We got you.
as you're winding down this conversation, you've come back to that first room. Now that Nora's feeling a little bit better, she'll see that letter puzzle, it's reset, but now the letters are facing as you enter that room from the back of the chasm, and all it says is congratulations.
Thank
Of course,
you.
you're
To
the only
room
one.
at large, to the ceiling. Thank you.
What?
You
They-
do notice
everything-
letters have changed a
Yeah,
bit, but at
Everything.
least her
Says
blood's
Kate.
off the floor.
You know, before I had to jump and make it spell the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Now it says congratulations, and it's facing the door. Never let it be said, I serve a god with no sense of humor.
Like you said, not
All
lawful
glory
dull.
to Paylor.
Walk in the sun, Hazel.
Saunter in the sunlight, as it were. Lord.
And unfortunately, Nora's probably never going to be able to hear jokes about that again without going, wait a minute, Which probably explains where she gets it now. There's a lot Nora understands now that she probably didn't before. In any case, in the front room, you've got Candor sort of. He was asleep, sort of opens an eye as you guys come through. There's the dwarf is still there, but it's clearly fairly late. But he's up and going, well, you seem to have succeeded. Well done.
Thank you.
And Candor's going, you guys were there for ages.
Yeah. Yeah, we were.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
And
Again, this in Sylvan.
so Jaloy sort of lands on your shoulder, going, not made of stupid. leans on her face. Flitty, meanwhile, lands on Frotha's shoulder, looks at him. You smell sad. This in Draconic.
I'm gonna take the helm of languages off so I don't eavesdrop on something I shouldn't hear. And I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, as out of character, I'm taking that thing off.
He basically just nods. He's usually not very verbal, and he's shut down more so than normal. So
Currently, what you've got is it's going. Okay, I'm just gonna snuggle up around your neck here, and sort of wriggles between the spines of the
That's
back of his
adorable.
neck. It's just because I like you.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
Adorable, like you made the singularly cutest fairy dragons.
Oh, this is Flitty. This is one of Flitty's pets.
I still love that. We're freaking pets. Not only that, but that's Flitty's favorite.
Yes, you got Candor going. So you did what you came to do.
We did,
Nora?
and if you would like, there's a big thing called an androsphinx in the back, and he's willing to teleport all of us to Hazel's mother's home, to what could be your home if you want it to be. Only if you want to come. We're not going to force you. We're not going to make you. You have a choice.
Well,
I gotta start from somewhere that's not here. This is middle of nowhere here.
Yeah, this is middle of nowhere.
So
here, but
I'll start from there and see how we go. I guess.
that works.
I'm
That's okay.
gonna translate / say sort of the equivalent to Jaloy. Best I can, given Sylvan.
No, you remember you had the scroll.
Primer
Yeah.
downloaded.
Yeah, but even then, Sylvan being very literal.
So, but to be fair, there's actually more terms for things like teleportation than there are for assholes.
line of the night.
And she's sort of going, well, I guess I have to go someplace, at least for right now. I think I need. I probably have face like she has face, and like he has face, except not like he has face because I don't have that face. My face is more flat. He has a much more interesting face than me. I go, I see, I think about it. We talk to whoever owns the place. I guess that's a thing humans and human issues and biggers have, isn't it? Owning things.
Yeah. It's a thing.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are.
And not all made of stupid, or at least your hearts are good.
Thank you.
And this just snuggles up in her hair again.
So, who wants to do the honors?
Hearth home, hearth home, hearth home.
And with that, there is a bright flash, and you are standing, thankfully not just smack in the dooryard, because that would kind of be intrusive, just to it'd freak people out just a little tiny bit. But you're actually in the drier part of that couple of acres with the cranberry bushes, which is sort of out of the way.
Oh, this is the best part of this is one of the best parts of the whole area. We got it back.
You do have a look at the it's darkish. I mean, sun's gone down, but it's full moon, so you've got a decent amount of light. One of the things you'll notice is that outbuilding where you guys have had your guest rooms, there's been some changes. It's not bad. It's more like there's actually been an addition built onto the roof.
How long have we been gone?
It does look fairly raw, so it may have been just finished.
Oh.
But keep in mind, you've got they're friends with Jenna, and there's Keth, and
Benson.
In fact, there's a light in the window, which suggests that it's not you guys who live there. That's probably Keth's. Gotta wonder what's been done to the downstairs. Might be worth a look before you.
Got tired of sharing sleeping space. I guess the two of you snore too much. I didn't say smell. I said snore.
Yeah, there's a difference there, you great doofus.
Your snores don't come out of your armpits, or at least I hope.
Not Lester check. You laughed.
If you're heading in to drop various bits and pieces and shuck the armor, when you open up the door, the interior has actually changed a fair bit.
Wow.
What instead of the little corridor with the boys section and the girls section, you have what amounts to a lounge. A little potbelly stove in the corner, a couple of the chairs from in the main room, and there's doorways, 4 of them, and little name plaques. Nora and Clarity on one, Darwin and Furseth on the other side. They have worked their butts off, making you each a room of your own.
Whole family works fast.
That they do.
I am absolutely astounded. This is amazing.
I'm having
Clarity
a
goes up to the sign
you
with
guys
her.
going to go have a look?
There's a cat carved on one side of the thing for hers.
It's Noop.
There is
Noop,
anyway.
If Clarity opens the door, you'll actually find Noop sitting on a hassock in Clarity's room, because it's a single bed and an armchair and a little hassock for putting her feet up. The shelves are clearly very, very new, bolted into but it's been made for bookshelves.
Clarity, look at this.
And Noop is sitting on one of the hassocks and actually steps off and winds himself around her ankles.
Hello, I've missed
kind of hug her
you.
again, and I'm welcome home.
Hey, Noop.
Noop actually looks up at Hazel with this face that's just what?
I think the cat has
Riches
chosen
for you.
a new person, Hazel.
Noop.
I think.
Noop accepts the scritches, but clearly Clarity needs him more, so that is where you know how cats are.
Mm-hmm.
She puts down Norman. She's been holding him this whole time. Petting Noop. God, this is more than I had at the Thatchers.
Welcome home.
In Froseth's room, his drawing of his home has been properly framed, so it's not just tacked to the wall anymore. There's not a whole lot in there. There's still the chair, but there's a mat on the floor, clearly for when he's indoor meditating. There's a little note on the end table saying, "We didn't know how you wanted to decorate, but we'll figure something out as we get to know you a little better." Darvin's was actually fairly simple. He's got space for practicing, and the kids have done sort of charcoal sketch drawings, which are just pinned up all over the place.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my god.
Nora has got a proper armor stand and a rack for a sword. They expected her to succeed.
Nora, look, see, I'm not the only one that knew you were worthy.
Pardon. Paylor's beacon can hear me. Yes, Nora?
As far as I know, it Janet?
From the sword is just when I want to. Yes.
I
Don't
just want
make
to
me
know if
too
there's
often.
anything you want to be called specifically, so that we're not fumbling over words all the time.
I am going to let you people work that out yourselves. It's not like I'm going to turn on you. I don't cut the hand that wields. That's why there are so many tests for me to be worthy to wield me in the first place.
Do you have pronouns?
I go
Oh.
by she.
Oh.
she.
I was once much like you.
Oh.
I chose a life of extended service.
I'll say.
You'd better be up to it, because I'm going to work you hard.
I hope you do.
Okay then. But
Now go and do the whatever huggy coping things that people with bodies still do, would you?
Would you be alright if I put you on the sword rack for now until I can
If
get
I
you
don't
to the
have
blacksmith?
if I don't have to listen to the huggy,
Then
yes.
for now, I shall leave you here, and I very carefully and reverently place her on the sword rack.
You can almost feel that silence that somebody's settling into a new chair or a new bed. This will do.
I will get to the blacksmith as soon as possible and have a proper scabbard made. I promise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that,
Yeah.
we will take our break
okay.
because we are at that halfway mark.
Yep.
And you could go and explore what's happened in the last few days while you were gone, beyond obviously what has been set up. To be fair, the only way they could have had that set up that quickly is if they've been planning it pretty much since the day you arrived. So they walked the plan, talked the plan, did the plan. Ta-da! And we're back.
Last-
The Cupcake Coterie have now returned, triumphant and shaken from the chasm, and they've come home to find that it is now actually home. They've had rooms made up, and they're still kind of exploring that. They finally, by the way, settled on a quilt for Froseth. In his case, it's just sort of a mountain scene.
Fits.
Well, no, rising sun over snow-tipped mountaintops. Probably took a little longer than some of the others as well, but yes. So they're about done exploring their new rooms and have had a conversation with Palor's beacon.
I am gonna unpack some.
Shall we introduce Candor and Jaloy to the house?
They're sort of standing outside, peering in, like.
Should.
Come on in.
Well, Candor sort of steps in quietly. Jaloy's been sitting on Hazel's shoulder the entire time, going, "You guys seem thrown. This wasn't here before."
This was a lot smaller.
Well, to be fair, the size of the building hasn't changed. It's just they've separated out the boys' side and the girls' side into rooms.
They built up like so much in here. Now there's rooms. There wasn't rooms before.
Yeah, we have our own rooms now. This is awesome. I'm going to unpack a bit and find places for things.
I'm
I
gonna
want to tell you again, Candor. I've known these people for less than a week, and this happened. I'm not sure how this happened.
And from my room behind the closed door, because we love you.
Candor's sort of standing in the
This is my
sort of
home.
living area. Okay. Anybody know you're here?
I have to go find out.
Yep, we're gonna. Yeah, we should probably.
Hey,
go
I'm already on my way out the door into the main house.
Yes, Hazel is therefore the first one who comes in, and she is pretty much immediately hugged on both sides very tightly by Twilly and Miranda. Just,
Ugh. Hey, Mom. Hey, Mama.
you're all right.
Yep.
Are you guys following?
Mhm.
Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got time to get on
Froseth is just gonna find like a bare patch of ground to sit and meditate on.
As you walk off, are you gonna need anything, food,
Oh.
drink, anything we can bring you and leave? Okay.
Yes. Clarity gets a similar dual hugging from both sides. It's very, very tight and relieved.
Hello.
Sorry. It's just that
Good
we
to
didn't
see you.
expect you back so soon. Not that we're not glad to see you. And Twilly is just going, I'm gonna go and put you all together some dinner. Excuse me. Miranda's going, so that did go rather quicker than anticipated. Do you all need to sit? Where's Froseth?
He needed a minute. And thank you for the rooms. They're wonderful, and I think we're all kind of stunned. And Froseth will be back up shortly. It did go faster than expected, but
It was
it was
intense.
hard. Yeah,
We're okay. We're okay.
everybody's fine. I think I got the worst of it, and everybody's fine.
Miranda raises an eyebrow. Lyra stopped by.
Oh?
Tick it over in your head for a minute. As
No,
Miranda-
I do!
Let's see.
Oh.
Is
Oh,
he still with
wait.
Rosa?
No,
Or
hand,
did he-
hand right over in Nora's mouth. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm saying nothing. I was going to ask if Lyra didn't know that Flitty came.
No. She was well aware. Flitty did say that he was coming to keep an eye on you all.
Yeah, I learned that he thinks that we're pets.
I got turned into a bunny.
You what?
He did. It was nerve-wracking. A little. A lot.
Mom and Mama.
Oh, hello. And in Sylvan, she says, "Welcome to our home. We don't often see you in habitations." And Juliet's just going, "Mine burned down." Gives Hazel this look. We're going to hear about that in Sylvan, because she gets the impression, I guess, that Hazel probably at least understands a bit. We're going to have a discussion about that, all of us, once Froseth comes back, once he's centered himself a little bit, turns back in common. While we wait for Froseth, your young gentleman friend in the doorway, peering.
Clarity, would you like to make the introduction?
This is Candor. Candor. These are the Hearts. This is Miranda. The other one was Twilly.
Yeah, she's just getting some food together. No offense to you, young man, but it looks like you could use some.
Candor's been through a bit.
Quite obviously, but we weren't going to bring that up. We were going to focus on the fact that he is our guest, and that he is welcome to stay as long as he likes. We will need to speak to the young men in the boys' room to make sure that there's a bed available, and bring him in a plate, because he's going to want to get used to at least the people he's going to be sharing a bedroom with. Sorry, young man, I don't mean to talk about you as if you're not there, but sometimes they need a little bit reminding not to get too far ahead of themselves. Yeah, I noticed that. You definitely suit your virtue name, young man.
He does very much.
I missed this.
And he will fit right in. If he'd like to.
Oscar, Evan? Pat. And Evan just, you hear, and clump onto Darwin's back.
Oh.
What?
I'll be right back.
He's still clinging to your cap.
Or not. I gotta give you something later, Evan. I have a thing for you I completely forgot about until just now.
Okay.
Oh! I think I know what it is. And yeah, thank you. Because, yes.
We've been a bit distracted.
Cantor looks at Oscar, because they're about the same age, just different species, frankly. It's going, are they always like this? Yeah, but everybody in the family's kind of like this. I'm Oscar. We're gonna get you. We had what did we have for dinner? It's not been that long, Oscar. I'm growing. It doesn't look like it, but I'm growing. Yes, that was the beef. Yeah. Oh yeah. I knew it was sliced meat of some kind. So we're gonna grab some of that from Mom, and we come and meet everybody else. Rashawn's gonna think you're real interesting. It'll be nice for him to have somebody of about his height. Okay. Rashawn's a half elf. We got a lot of people like this around here. You see, he points at the furniture. You see that and that and that. That one was from some rich bugger's house. That one was from some not so rich bugger's house. They didn't want him. We patched them up real good, and now they live here. And we love them, and that's how it is with people too. Mom, can we have some more dinner, please? At which point Oscar sort of pads into the kitchen, pads out with 2 plates. One's obviously for him. Shoves the other into Cantor's hand, grabs him by the elbow, having to reach up to do it. Come on. He lets himself be led, and it's like, I'm blaming you for this as he gets dragged off down the corridor.
We warned you.
I got an Evan from around Darvin's cafe. I gotta let you guys have grown-up conversation unless it's almost my bedtime.
I
But
have a thing. I will get it, and I will give it to you either later or tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's his bedtime. Tomorrow.
yeah, except there's gonna be one thing because we all promised. Miss Mama, is it okay if yes? He pats around and hugs Nora and then Clarity and then Hazel again around the cuff and pats into the girl's side and says, "Hey, Skylar, Rose is back." That's good. When Froseth is done with his meditating, he finds Skylar very patiently sitting cross-legged, far enough away to not be intrusive. A little container of blueberries waiting.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I love it.
You seem to have a teeny tiny minion.
Yes.
Wait,
She doesn't disturb. She stays out of that personal space bubble, so that he didn't even know she's there until he's done. At which point it's like, oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh my dear god!
I'm sorry, I didn't actually hear you.
I brought you some blueberries. I'm glad you're back.
He can't help but smile.
Are you okay for hugging now?
Yes.
Glump.
Me too. Me too.
I don't mean to spoil your dinner, but berries are a nice thing.
Yeah. I really appreciate it.
I can't tell you not to go away again because I know that you have to, but it's nice to know that you come back. Because I like you. When you're ready, there's going to be dinner, but I made Evan promise to tell me when he came back so I could give you berries and say hello and hug you some. So I'm going to go back to bed now.
Have a good night.
Another hug and boom. A little dust cloud runs past you guys again.
Wow.
She's quite fond of Frost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which probably means he'll be in a little while, so I'll put out a plate for him. As we've discovered with Oscar, we have beef, and I'm sure you have some things to say. We'll discuss your rooms first. We'll cover Froseth when he comes back. Some of you were a little easier to deal with than others. For Darwin, it seemed that reminders of the children and the laughter and the everything else was suitable. So, particularly the little ones who want so much in helping get everything done quite that fast, they drew some art on the walls.
And I love it.
We, for clarity, we decided that anything we put on the walls would take up space that she would much prefer have for bookshelves. So we left that alone. But we did make sure to put together a little reading nook and space for Noop and we.
Speaking of,
You cat.
and Norman is, and you've made a new friend.
Well, he's a
very
temporary
heroic
friend.
badger.
Oh, you found a pack of tricks.
Yeah.
Oh, really? They found a pack of tricks. Oh my god!
This is Norman, the very heroic badger.
He's a frequent visitor.
although slightly vertically challenged. But
I also remember there being a wolf. And
There
a
was
very big cat.
That Brandon and Ernesto.
Yes.
Miranda just steps forward and hugs Clarity. You have no idea how much I love you sometimes. You are a delight. Truly are. At the very least, you now also have shelf space for things like the bag of tricks, as well as whatever books you might come across on your travels. Nora has her own room elsewhere, but it's still nice to have something that's not just a bed tucked into a corner someplace where she can store her armor properly and her weapons and the rest of it.
It is, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
He had a little bit more difficulty with Froseth, but he thought we thought he might appreciate minimal.
Yeah.
Beyond
Yeah.
his bit of artwork. Skylar is contemplating a bit of artwork, but she wants to get better at it first, she says.
Oh my goodness.
We keep trying. We keep trying to explain to her that it is the thought that counts, but she's determined that it be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to go around a bit. And Twilly is going, dinner's on the table!
Oh,
I'm starved.
yeah. At which point you just hear from my
I,
dark stomach. Oh dear.
Probably about now, Froseth will be about ready to head in.
It's when he comes in, dinner is on the table, and Twilly and Miranda are sort of keeping a respectful distance, but it's clear that they're only doing that because they care. So the little ones are predominantly in bed, or at least the girls are. The boys are probably a little too excited about new arrival to be paying too much attention. How did it go? Beyond what we already know, looks at Clarity, looks at Hazel, like it's not an accusatory look. It's reassuring themselves that those two are still okay. Pretty obviously.
Things. Well, we ran into a lot more vine blights.
Well, there were the centaurs before that.
Yeah,
They
those
weren't
people
trying
were
to
fun.
hurt us. That
Well,
was a different thing.
there was some hurting involved.
Yeah, of me.
My point.
That was a challenge.
It was.
Yeah,
It
but
took me a minute to find my feet, but I finally got through it. And then there were vine blights and twig blights. Those are great.
and I could and
Far too many of those.
tactics.
Yes, apparently. Was that where incidents happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that was my fault.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Well,
And
I panicked.
Were you the one who wrapped the vines that you don't have around their throats?
Okay, fair.
I'm assuming it's vine blights. That's how they work.
Yeah, actually, the first time I was the one that got wrapped up the very first time we ran across them. This is a
Yeah.
whole new experience.
As long as you're all right. Lyra sends her apologies that she didn't warn you, but it didn't seem appropriate.
Well,
Saying "in case you die" is not
no.
something you say to people.
it's not exactly something you bring up. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
we got through that, and then we met Jaloy. And
There was something about Bunny.
oh,
That's later.
that's a little bit later. We met
We'll
Jaloy.
get there.
Jaloy
But at the time, I was needing a little bit to cool off, but I've heard this secondhand at this point. They met Jaloy and didn't know what to call her, and so Hazel decided to call her Meep because it was the noise she made. And
Lily,
Jaloy-
darling, we really should have been a little bit better with her education about Sylvan. She didn't want anything to do with what she learned in that horrible place. I know, but look!
And then,
Sorry.
well, anyway, so
Jaloy led them to Candor, who was an escaped slave from the cultists, right?
Yeah.
Cultists?
we'll get to that.
They were handled, but we'll get there.
So,
Escaped slave from the cultists that we found out about through Candor and through the centaurs leaving robes behind of those they'd killed, and a few, letting us know that a few had gotten away.
Was there a symbol?
Do you still have that, Hazel?
Oh, no. We've seen those before, Twilly! Oh, for Palo's sake. That was part of the Sutherland uprisings.
this is all, oh God, everything's bloody connected.
Generally speaking, it seems like this has been circling for a while now, and now it seems to be
Our turn.
that, or it's finally coming to a head, and you are the chosen heroes. I'm rather glad
Why
it's not
not both?
Yeah.
I'm actually rather glad it didn't do that 40 years ago. I apologize, but frankly, I don't think I'm up to being the kind of heroes that you lot are.
But
sorry.
anyway, so
That seemed important.
there was that.
When we went to go find
Each
the
in a Darwin.
pixies to see if they could help us find the renegade cultists that had gotten away from the centaurs, Hazel offended the pixies and their matriarch, or at least what I assume was their matriarch, and then they turned Darwin into a bunny, and then
Turned Darwin into a
because
bunny.
she blamed it all on Darwin.
I panicked!
I panicked!
I know.
They gave her a primer that she didn't open until after he was a
I didn't
rabbit.
know it was
Nora,
magic.
excuse me. We are parenting here for a moment. Hazel, I know that.
Suddenly very interested in meal.
Admit in a stressful situation is very hard. I need you to work past it because I don't know if being turned into a rabbit is necessarily suffering, but he still went through that in your place. I think you owe him, at the very least, a proper apology.
Apologies were made.
And try not to do it again. We understand, but you see what happens now.
Yeah, I definitely do.
And you'll be trying to learn from that.
Very much, yes.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Well then,
Well, and then there was the confusion spell, and Clarity, in her running away, found more cultists for us. We got most of them.
yeah, Hazel went one way, Clarity went the other. I got thrown against
After
a
you go
tree.
Where was Frozen while all this was going on?
Keep
Candor.
watching
Candor.
Candor. We didn't want to leave Candor. We'd helped Candor, and Candor was a bit better, but still.
It still doesn't seem 100%, but we'll
Yeah.
deal with that tomorrow.
Yeah. So.
But we got all of the cultists save one.
And that one, come to find out, the next overnight, when we had recovered from dealing with the cultists and the confusion and everything else. By the way, sorry about stabbing you, Nora. The cultists did a confused spell on us, and yeah. But we recovered. But unfortunately, overnight, that last cultist took.
He burned Jaloy's village,
Yeah.
and killed everyone save her.
There's a quiet sort of. It's not even something that can be translated. It's just sort of a quiet from Hazel's hair, where Jaloy is currently still setting up shop. Well, I'm fairly sure Xana will be more than happy to have somebody to properly enjoy her dollhouse from the inside. Actually, Hazel knows this dollhouse. This dollhouse has been in the family for like ever, but it's always called the sort of the second youngest, so the one who plays with it most. So once it was Hazel's, and now it's Xana's, and it'll be Skylar's one day.
The dollhouse?
For the
Oh
moment,
boy.
Xana's dollhouse. Now someone can enjoy it from the inside.
But then after that, we did finally make our way to the chasm, and
I get the impression the less said about that, the better.
well, I mean, I leave it up to Nora.
I have not been through anything like that ever, and hope to not go through it quite that way ever again. There are easier ways to, let's just say, the end was very enlightening in ways I did not at all expect.
And sometimes lessons have to be harsh to learn them. I think we said that about about Hazel
Mhm.
before you all left the first time. Sometimes you need a sharp lesson. Even you.
I don't disagree. I've never claimed to be perfect. But it was definitely enlightening, and I couldn't do anything I do without all of you. And I appreciate all of you and what you have to teach me. Thank you. At some point, I do need to write my parents and let them know that I'm okay and that things are progressing in new and unexpected ways.
Twilly, she's been bustling around in the kitchen, bustles back with sort of a folded, sealed bit of paper, which she hands to Nora. It's addressed to Nora Bailey in her father's handwriting.
Oh, and I'm gonna thank you. I'm gonna open that immediately.
It's a fairly straightforward letter. It's, obviously thank you for letting us know that you're all right. We're glad to hear that your adventuring is going well, although possibly not so much about how dire it is. Thank you for the warning about Heseltine. We will make sure not to serve him. Also, thank you for the spices. I have been in the kitchen more or less non-stop, and planned B for the foreseeable future, but we wanted to send it with this rather... when did you make friends with fairy dragons? Your mother says hello. She had some things to say about what you might or might not want to get up to with that bard of yours, but that's not really for consumption by anyone else, so we're not going to send it in this letter, but she desperately wants to have one of those back corner of the bar drink sessions with you the next time you're in town, just to have a few hints to pass along. I can guarantee they're worth it if that's not too much information for you.
Okay, that's rich.
Oh, Dios mío.
It's basically just, your brother's doing well, Stavrid's doing well, love you lots, etc.
Yes, thank you. That was good to read. And I'm gonna just pull it up and kind of stick it in my belt pouch. That's mine. When did it come?
Only this morning.
Thank you.
Fairy dragons can go fairly quickly, particularly when they can turn themselves
No
into
kidding.
eagles.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You guys will actually remember the older ones, and you sent them along with an older one, can polymorph.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had forgotten that.
which is rather amusing given the adventures you all had with that particular spell.
Bunny Bard.
Which means
Bunny Bard.
How
The end of
was
our days,
it being?
Bunny
How
Bard.
was it being a rabbit anyway?
I still need to work out how to hold a rapier with a paw.
I think you need
I
a
don't think
smaller
you
rapier
can.
first. And Twilly's like, no, actually you can. You just need to be able to strap it to the paw. Your only problem there is you've got no elbow action,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it wouldn't
yeah.
be worth it being able to hold it anyway.
Well, I might be able to beat out some rhythms on a drum.
With either your front feet or your back feet. More your back feet, probably.
Probably, yeah. Well, that's for a good, drum roll.
We find
I'm
something
trying-
interesting, it looks like.
I
At
wasn't
least they can laugh about it now.
I wasn't really a bunny for long.
To be honest, we were laughing about it then too.
Yeah. It was all
Yeah.
a bit surreal.
Yeah.
What was it you said, Clarity? You find bunnies rather inspirational?
I still do.
So what are your plans now?
I want to go see Jenna.
Yeah, I need to go see
Mhm.
Jenna. The sword demanded a scabbard. The sword talks.
Well, if I were a sword, I'd probably want a decent scabbard too.
I know I can't fault it, but I don't have one.
But
quite yet.
one thing I should probably point out: blacksmiths don't make scabbards.
Oh,
Oh,
Leather
no.
crafters do.
Oh.
Eh.
And oh, Lord.
I will go into town tomorrow to handle that.
Please, I don't want to be anywhere near there, thank you.
Me neither.
Bingo.
I will fix it. It's okay.
I don't particularly.
I don't necessarily want to, but I need to, so I am going to.
I mean, to be fair, that whole thing prompted a change in climate,
That's another
as it
thing.
were, that I think is a lot of people seem to be better off. But
And you've got Twilly sort of going. Alternatively, we could have a look and see what we've got in storage.
I wouldn't be opposed, but I don't know if the sword would be offended. I
Well-
don't know enough about her yet.
Well, you could explain that, much like herself, this scabbard is the veteran of many battles.
that was my thought. I mean, given the, I mean, imagine, a scabbard that's been around the.
Besides, did she specify a new one, or did she just say a decent one?
Fair enough. And like I said, I'm not opposed. I think it's a wonderful idea.
We'll have a look after dinner, but at least you have that sword rack.
I do. Thank you. It was a blessing.
Well, we figured you'd need it.
Thank you.
Clarity, we returned your books to Felicia as well. We
Oh.
thought you might not.
Thank
want
you.
to, we thought you might want to go there. Also,
Yeah.
Torin had to be off, but he did say that he would be in Belarus in 2 weeks' time. Since you're going to be, I assume, eventually heading in the direction of Star Coast, he'll at least be on the coast and possibly be able to meet him there if you need to.
Noted.
Thank you.
I've been wanting to go there anyway.
Yes, if you're trying to look for Andromeda Dig, you're going to have to actually find out where she lives, and we don't even 100% know. How are you going to find her?
Still wanted to try.
I'm not saying you shouldn't, I'm just asking you to consider how you're actually going to locate her. I mean,
A couple ideas.
admittedly, an elf of her, a half elf of her appearance is probably not difficult to find, even in a large city. But it's something for you to keep in mind.
All right.
As far as me, my immediate plans are to find the picture for Evan that I've been meaning to give him, and We were a bit distracted.
It's in your room.
Mm.
I've tucked it on top of the chest of drawers. You probably missed it while you were stuffing a couple of your changes of clothes back in.
Also, oh boy, this I don't know how to properly talk about this because it's
We were, as part of the whole, the way that all ended, we were given insights into certain things relevant to each of us. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, Hazel?
yeah.
Just to give you a bit better, a bit smoother of a segue there.
And what I got shown was the halfling community near to the Star Coast.
Focuses on her plate, and Twilly just sort of inches over to her, wraps an arm around her waist.
I can stop there if you.
It seems to be something necessary, and I might be able to help continue.
They're all ready to go fight stuff, but they're out of people to send in because no one comes back out, and they need help, but they're being stubborn about it. They don't want to ask you for help because they're just
They're still angry.
yeah.
Well, this isn't about them. We wouldn't suggest that you go through by means of the hearth if it was just about them. We'd suggest you avoid it entirely. They are one of the more insular halfling communities. Anyone who isn't a halfling or has any interest in anything outside the community, beyond obviously a bit of trading in Star Coast, as was, does not meet the best reception. As I said, I don't know that it was because I fell in love with a woman. Possibly not. I think it was more that it was not a hearth community woman, and that I wanted to see someplace else. And if they've planned and prepared for this, they must have known about it for longer than... And if they didn't tell me, then that's not on me. But it's still not about them. It's about the Star Coast. It's about Baronsphere. It's about Elon. Go through them. Go through the hearth and get as much of their help as you can. Do not scruple to point out their hypocrisies. At this point, they deserve very little less.
All right.
I will ask Hazel to keep her temper, except in one circumstance, and one circumstance only. If they try to blame me for Belinda's death, then I'll be through off. Unfortunately, I wouldn't put it past them.
If they
She was-
blame you for that, all bets are off for all of us.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We were there.
I was her older sister. I was supposed to watch her.
I'm an older sister. You can't be everywhere. You have to have a life too, and they can't blame you for that. And if they do, like I said, we were there. It wasn't you, and it wasn't your fault. You didn't kill her.
I know that. I'm just saying they might not. Sometimes it's easier to say it up front to prepare you. Having that hit you broadside when you're trying to have a sensible conversation tends to derail things.
Fair enough.
You're totally going, this might not be the time, but I have apple cranberry sponge cake.
Oh,
Actually,
bless
it
you.
might be the perfect time, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Sets out plates, and this time there's tea. Apparently, they've got a fairly limited supply of the coffee, but it's a nice sort of calming cinnamony tea that goes well with the cake.
Sorry, momming.
No, that's fine. Everybody's doing something at the moment.
Glory to cake. Cranberries did good, yeah?
Cranberries have gone very, very well, and Skylar has been very pleased at just her life in general. She has new berries to pick and a new really big brother. She couldn't be happier.
How's Lisa doing?
That makes me curious. How's she dealing with the whole fact that the whole place is really soggy?
I don't have to wear shoes, is her usual way of putting it. Lissy is doing wonderfully. She has basically doubled the amount of reliance we have on the river and fishing and that sort of thing. She is also hoping that once things are a little bit more normalized, she'll be able to be in charge of taking our wares to the various markets upriver.
Good.
She desperately wants to help.
I believe it.
How much of the family has learned to sail already?
About half of it. Keth doesn't. He says the tiller's too small. He's afraid he'll break it. Mella has been doing quite well, although she's not keen on watching the fishing. She says watching the fish flop is just too sad for her. She likes animals as much as or more than Clarity does. Xana and Skylar are quite keen. They are just having minor issues where they're too small to reach everything, and sometimes when the rudder goes, Xana goes with it, clinging to it.
Oh no!
And I keep insisting she's going to get bigger someday. And she will. Not that much bigger, but enough to at least not have the tiller drive her instead of the other way around. But that's a question. Are we going to be holding on to the boat for particularly longer? Because I imagine you want to get down to at least that part of the Star Coast as fast as possible.
We do need to get to the Star Coast. We're on a clock.
Well, that's fine. And this is something we expected. Don't have that apologetic look. You brought the boat. We've made good use of it. It would be nice if it came back. If it doesn't, we'll think of something. We always do. Froseth, after dinner, we have something to show you.
We can get a bigger boat.
Okay.
But for the time being, at the very least, enjoy your desserts. And she goes into some stories about what's been happening while everybody's been away. Climbing trees and boat rides, and yet more pretending to be the Cupcake Coterie defending haystack forts and that kind of thing. And does anyone
I love it.
does anyone have anything else they want to bring up at dinner?
Nope.
All the kids are already in bed and everything, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
You guys are having a late sort of quasi leftovers dinner.
Yeah. Well, I need it's not really important to the whole Star Coast thing, but I need to talk about the thing I saw at the end there.
I'm gonna lean over and put my hand on top of his that's on the table.
And Twilly and Miranda are going, do you want us to stay or? And we'll happily go if it's private.
I don't mind if you hear.
I suppose you've heard a little bit of something from us as well.
But yeah, like the vision that I was shown was me as a baby being handed off to be taken to the temple. This is something we had talked about before, so I was relatively sure about what had happened already. It was an emotional hit, but after hearing what the rest of you saw everything was happening now. Mine was the past. I can't help but think that means there's nothing there for me to see.
That's not necessarily true. It's where it started.
I'm inclined to think that it's a question of where, like, because remember, everything was connected with everything else. Your past is connected with all of this. Hazel's present. Whoop. Sorry. That is work.
That ringtone. Okay.
That's work. Sorry.
No, that's fine. One thing I will say, for those of you who are focusing on it, there's also the fact that, for clarity, for Darvin, for Hazel, those were questions that they already had in mind. Things they were asking: is my brother still alive? What happened to my mother?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with Mama's family? You can only work from a point of, this was being gifted to you. So it had to address a question first. It doesn't really seem to have much in the way of questions for the now that are as important to him as that.
Well, and what's interesting to me is every time Frost has had the opportunity to try to pursue the now, he's chosen not to. He chose not to talk to Edwina. He chose not to talk to Torin.
Well,
He's
no,
making
to be
these
fair, he
choices.
tried to speak to Durham, but he didn't know where to start. This was a start.
Mm-hmm.
There are details about that he could ask about. He might be able to give descriptions to people who might know now. This is giving him more than just a home, a city. This is more detail about him.
Yeah. Sorry, which is where I was trying to go before it all just went all sideways.
Yeah. Well, then I
that
picked it
amazing
up for you
ringtone.
while you were dealing with the ringtone. Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Let's just pretend Darvin said that. I'm probably a little bit better with words than both him and his player anyway.
Accurate. I don't deny it.
You broke us by talking, after all.
Twilly and Miranda just sort of they hesitate for a minute, and they apparently decide, screw it, and then they both hug Versa as well. Quick hug. Miranda
Well,
does
those-
pipe up with, there is one thing. Barreras said something about the next time we see Clarity, or if it's too uncomfortable in town for her, he might be willing to make a house call
Oh,
And if you
for
have,
that.
good point.
You wanted a sketch of, he said, your brother?
yes.
We could invite him round for a lunch. And he might be willing
Right.
to take on a second commission.
All right. I don't mind going into town. It's not like haven't faced that kind of thing before. It's just
Take the offer he's made as the gift it is. He hasn't left town in 30 years.
I'm getting up. I'm walking around to Clarity, and I'm hugging her
well,
again.
Wow. Uh-oh.
She froze.
Yeah, Clarity froze.
Yeah, she's been a bit hiccupy pretty much all day.
Yeah.
But now it's coming to a head.
Ah, there you go. Sort of. Briefly.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, that was just stock stillness as it being hugged, I think, at least part of it.
yeah.
But it does mean that if Joseph would like, he does have a description to work from. But that's up to him, obviously. But yes, take Barreras making a house call as the gift it is.
All right.
Was there anything else? That would be happening around the dinner table.
No,
No.
not from me.
Okay. And Willie goes, I will supervise the dishes. Miranda has something to show Forsyth, so... And she's pointing. Nora, you wash. Clarity, you dry. Donovan, you put away.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I was going to
Hey,
ask where you
please
wanted me.
Please pack the rest of the leftovers up. Thank you.
Got it.
Miranda takes Forsyth out a little ways past where their training area is, to the back of the barn. Where they got some of the wood for this is fairly clear, because they've actually cleared a small clearing until it's fairly larger. There's 4 sort of wrought iron, I guess, braziers of a kind, except fire's not in all of them. There's a little, appears to be enchanted fire because it's not burning anything and it's not going out in one. Seems to be a small localized tornado in one. One is full of just plain farmyard dirt, and the last one's full of water.
Nice.
It's about sizable for a proper meditation session. We couldn't really do anything with your room. You seemed to like minimal, so we made this.
Wow.
It does actually look like a very simplified, countrified version of what you might have had for indoors at the temple.
Amazing.
Twilly's very proud of the enchantments on those two, by the way.
Yes, it's extremely impressive.
We just thought that you might want to know it was there. It's out of the way, so few people are going to disturb you. If you need centering of that kind, we've met monks, but not Way of the Four Elements monks. So we were mostly guessing.
It's wonderfully done. Thank you very much.
Well, now you know it's there. Then she smiles, but pats him on the elbow and says, "Just explore it a little, and you know where we are when you're ready to have a bit more company." She heads on inside and lets you have a moment. Evan, meanwhile, is sort of peering out the Twilly's going, Don't think I don't see you. I know it's exciting. The only reason that I'm remotely turning a blind eye to this is because I think your Uncle Darwin may have something to show you. So if you come out very quietly and don't disturb the others, I'll let it go just this once. Don't make me regret it. Boom.
I'll be right back. Run to the. Ha 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 ha! Run back.
So Twilly is very theatrically standing with her back to.
And I'm just gonna hold it out to him.
Looks at it, and his eyes go really big and kind of teary. You had this done to me?
Yes.
Thump! Hug. Around. Well, by this point, he's probably, if he's handing
I've leaned down. Yeah.
So it'd be, by the same finally to properly hug. Thank you. If certain gentlemen who I'm pretending are in bed are very good, we'll arrange to have it properly framed.
Go, 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 go.
If they give Miss Mom one last hug before bed.
Go, go, go.
Hugs everybody else all the way through and to bed
Go, 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 go,
with flushing his drawing. Sometimes you have to give them at least 3 inches.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of wiggle room.
Besides,
I have the biggest grin on my face.
Besides, I'm pretending not to notice he stole the last bit of the cake on the way through. Yeah, the Hazel actually sees that the plate that she had that she was trying to put back into the bread box is now empty.
That little. Why am I not surprised? Yeah, do that little sneak.
I'm just going to walk on over and hand the plate over and hand the plate to the.
Nora
I
was
was
washed.
disappointed in you if you were surprised.
Miranda comes back in and says, we're just giving Rosa another moment. How are the dishes? Coming along.
It's not
Just
done.
about in point of fact.
Good. Yep.
Right, we'll sort of head to bed, Twilly and I, and have our own little prayers that you're back safe and sound, even if you are going to be heading off to yet more dangerous climbs later on. Do be prepared. Breakfast tomorrow is going to involve many more awake children who will be very, very glad to see you all.
And we're glad to see them.
Very. That's good.
And they head off to bed.
Okay.
No, well, if Darwin's trying to catch their attention, Miranda.
I was just going to say it's good to be home.
It's good to have you home. Goes in, shuts door. Clearly trusting you guys to deal with the rest of the dishes. But it's the first time they've actually let you guys do that without supervising.
Oh wow. Okay.
There's trust.
Wow.
It was a glorious thing.
So unless there's anything else anyone wanted to do, I imagine examination of meditation space.
Weren't we gonna look into storage after dinner for Scabbard? Or you know what? Let's leave this tomorrow.
They can check in the morning. They were
tomorrow. It's fine.
Yeah, it's late. Let's just get
We've
some
all
sleep.
had a long day.
Let's get some sleep.
Bed for everyone.
Sleep
Bed,
sounds really
bed
nice.
in proper rooms for everyone. And come the morning.
Oh,
Sorry.
Once the morning rolls around, I have to see how much of my staff of healing recharges.
Yes, we will have you roll for that, but the very first thing that happens in your case is you're, for once, woken up at the same time as all of the rest of the household, because all the girls with whom you share space, with the exception of Lissy, boom, right on top of you.
I
Nice.
need to breathe.
We're gonna go say hi to the others. Probably a little less squishy. says Zana. But we wanted to say hi, proper, because you do this to us all the time. We get
I'm
to do
just
it
gonna
back
start hugging
now.
them all back now that I'm less squashed.
Right to back. Mama, I'm gonna make cake pans, I think.
All hail cake fans!
And the kids just scatter. The rest of you, even Forsyth, because he's again had an emotionally draining day, essentially wake up being pounce hugged by children.
Yay!
Ah,
Hey!
Skylar is very much in the Forsyth pack. Mela is very much in Clarity's pack. Evan is leading the ones that are hugging Darvin. But there's an even spread. The only exceptions really being Lissy, who waits until after everyone's done squish hugging Nora to get a hug in while no one's looking, and Candor, who's still asleep because what you get is Lissy saying the little tiefling boy he tried to get up and Twilly mom person ordered him back to bed and said she would bring breakfast. There's gonna be pancakes because Hazel likes pancakes.
Sounds good.
Probably hearing in the background, all hail cake pans!
Very distantly from the house.
Oh, Hazel.
Yes, we're supposed to leave you alone in case you want to do meditation and sparring and things, but we wanted to welcome you home big. So here we are, welcoming you home big. And then there's this sort of, one of those marching band routines where you get everybody running around in different spots, or one of those cartoons where people are coming out of one door and the other. That's basically so everybody gets hugs from everybody, and then out. You probably got at least 2 or 3 of you blinking like, what just happened?
We missed you guys too, a lot.
Yeah.
It's good to be home.
When you've bathed, trained, meditated, Forsyth wanders off to someplace he hasn't told any of you about yet, so up to you whether or not you ask.
You would... I was thinking you'd be in the sparring ring with me this morning. Where'd you go?
Oh, he what? Oh,
They set up a meditation spot, I guess would be the best way to describe it for me.
Oh, wow.
oh, that's awesome! That is so cool.
Welcome home, Proseth. I think they're claiming you whether you want to.
What to say?
You're a hearth
We're
now.
everyone's pets now.
There are worse things in the world to be.
You know, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
And the now nearly familiar call of breakfast
In the house.
at Forsyth's plate. A bowl of strawberries in this case. On Nora's plate, rather pretty scabbard. It's sort of a dark brown leather, chased in bronze. Kind of matches some of the chasing on her armor. And yeah, it looks like it'll fit.
This is gorgeous. I will go take this and show her and see what she thinks. This is
Insight check from all of you before she heads out.
Okay.
9.
He doesn't say it.
16!
I roll no good.
20.
Course, Clarity. Course.
Well, in all fairness, she only literally just upped her wisdom. She leveled, so Yeah, for
Rolled an 18.
Hazel, who knows her moms, Clarity, Darvin, and Furseth, there's just this smug, oh, this is going to be so much fun, as Nora leaves the room.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So, Nora,
I know you said to find a proper scabbard, and the Hearthhearts, Twilly and Miranda, happened to have this one, and I wanted to run it by your approval and see what you thought. If it was
Wow.
proper enough.
well, I liked it well enough 40 years ago.
I am glad to hear it. And I will go ahead and
Slide it home.
put her in the scabbard, and then I'm gonna go back and eat breakfast. I'm hungry.
By this point, the
That
the
was brilliant.
the expectant looks from Twilly and Miranda as Nora said, you did hear, darling, about exactly how our dear friend Lyra heard about Palo speaking in the first place. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I did. She didn't tell me she knew the wielder, but
Yes, she did.
did she? I've slept
It's
since
been-
then.
It's been a while. I understand, but yes, she knew the wielder, and more to the point, she was actually the trainee of the cleric who brought her to.
I did remember that.
Yes, well, she came back with the scabbard because apparently Nessor likes a bit of showmanship.
I would agree with that. I would say that's potentially an understatement.
I had no idea something
would
that
not.
big could be that graceful.
You're in
You
for
were-
so many surprises, young Darvin.
Well, I've never seen something that big before, so.
As I say, you are in for so many surprises. Wait till you see dragons.
Oh boy.
Hard, shush.
So you've got your scabbard.
Thank you. Yes.
Did you want to go into town, or did you want to arrange for Barreras to come here? Was there anything else you
Well,
needed to be in town for?
I wanted. Well, I wanted to see Lyra, so I guess I
Oh.
have to go to the shrine.
She can always come back and visit if you want. She could probably even bring all the fairy dragons with her. I'm sure Estan would be more than happy for peace and quiet.
I can tell her while I'm there if you want.
I mean, no, it's something.
It's something you
I-
want.
No, I mean, I can tell her to come
Yeah.
here.
No, I
I
think
think
this is
Clarity
something she
wants
wants to do.
Go.
Okay, there.
I have some things I need to work out,
All right.
and a favor to ask her. So,
Okay.
Will you
I'm
want
sure it would
her-
do the two of you good to pray in someplace a little more consecrated than the road, a little less consecrated than the chasm.
Yes. I was gonna ask it if it was alright if I came along. So,
oh yeah,
And I'm sure the two of you can find something to do in town in the meantime. I'm sure Benson wouldn't mind having a bit of entertainment in the place.
I can work on some composition ideas,
I'm sure you have a lot of material by now.
which is exactly where I was about to go.
Are you going to roll for charges for your stuff?
Yep, I'm going to take care of that right now. It's 1d6 plus 4. And, oh, that's all the charges. Right back to full.
nice.
Sweet.
Hooray!
Hopefully we
Nice
won't need them
and
in
More than I
town.
needed.
Hopefully we won't need any in town.
Oh, doubtful. Things have calmed down a little bit.
Speaking of town, how has the things changed with the proclamation now that it's had some time to settle, as it were?
To be honest, we don't know. It's only been a few days.
Oh.
It hasn't gone
we
that
have
long.
we have
Oh God, it feels so much longer. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
we haven't actually been back yet, and we're sort of hoping you can tell us.
That's fair. That's fair.
We're gonna do that.
We've been through a bit over the last few days already, so I for a moment there it felt a lot longer than it actually was. Sorry.
I know that feeling. I think I've fallen prey to it a time or two myself.
Believe me, we all know that feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll bear that in mind.
So yes,
Has anyone seen Deloitte this morning yet?
in the rafters, you hear, "Hello."
Oh.
Hey! How are you settling in?
It holds up the tiniest pancake. I don't know what these are, but they're kind of nice.
They are
Right.
cake pans.
Is that a tiny pancake? Oh my God,
That's a tiny pancake.
Oh my God, that is wonderful. It is a pixie
Well,
pancake.
they're actually called pancakes, but I ended up calling them cake pans.
It's not a cake.
If this doesn't end up
It's not a
in some
pan
sort of
either.
children's ballad that you're writing, I'm going to be very annoyed at you. Just
Oh.
for the record.
No, it's all this is. Yeah, no.
And they have a house. A house that's my size.
Yes.
Hmm?
The little Nomi girl is making this tiny square with tiny flowers. Apparently, and Xana's going, "I'm making her a picture quilt."
Oh
Hanky.
boy. Oh Lord. Okay.
I'm translating this.
I'm just writing. I'm just like
This
John making
Ends
notes.
up in a children's ballad or we have issues.
I'm notes.
Good! Good!
We did at least remember that Pixie's vegetarians, so
All glory to cake pans. Once again, in Sylvan.
Skylar is sort of going, if you mean the Pixie, she was trying to help pick strawberries.
Hand over Hazel's mouth. Little do I pitch for this early in the morning.
I made her promise to I said she could help, but there was going to be that little bowl that was all going to be that I picked for her first.
Oh.
But she can help if she wants to help.
Skylar
I'm
is-
taking the hand away. It's back in my lap. We're good.
Skylar is amazing.
And Mom and Mama are going to teach me to speak Sylvan. Says
That will be
that Hazel didn't want to for a while, and that was okay. But I want to be able to talk to Julie and and Sunshine. And Sunshine's also up on the rafters, going at this time in Draconic, going, "Hello, hello, Dragon Man.
Hello.
Is it?
I have the flat, flowery things. They're kind of like cookies, but not."
What? What?
I want to be able to talk to Sunshine too, and the other fairy dragons.
Well, I think that will be a fun adventure.
And maybe if I learn that, then maybe Sunshine can teach me to speak Draconic. I can speak the first something. I think my pronunciation is going to be a bit funny though, because I haven't got the right kind of jaw, or teeth, or throat, or things. But I'm going to try.
Trying is what matters.
That's
Skylar.
the important part.
Yep. At the very least, you'll be able to understand it, even if you can't say it.
I still won't be able to say
Well, yeah.
that Roseth is my big brother in 3 languages.
You
Four,
do that.
This is a
Terrible.
wonderful goal.
You.
4, actually, because
Yep.
then she says it in Elven.
Oh,
I think this is a wonderful goal.
very much so.
I like it.
I'm gonna have all the languages.
More hair
You have all
ruffling.
the languages. You have all the languages.
And the berries.
That too.
And then when you're good enough, maybe you
Oop.
could teach me.
Oh.
I would-
Oh. Oh. Oh, we lost.
And then
Oh,
she was
no.
Shame.
Clarity! Clarity, come back!
And she's
Clarity, come
thinking,
back.
I bet you know languages I don't. Maybe I could teach you some when I learn mine. You can.
Oh.
Now she's entirely gone for the call.
Balls.
Well, we are.
There we go!
Or that's
Oh,
Ah!
okay, you have sound. Yay. Okay, picture's coming back.
Yes. Basically, just Skylar going, maybe I can teach you some of mine, and you can teach me some of yours.
Oh, and this conversation reminds me, I need to give that book back to Estan. So it's a good thing we're going to the temple
All
anyway,
right.
to the shrine.
More hair ruffling for
It's a little hard because she wears the pigtails, but
as much as possible. So it's the pigtails are probably a little askew now.
just tidy some of it.
I'm going to try to help.
Hazel.
Check.
Hazel.
Check.
Oh God, this is not.
Dex check? Dex check?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, this
Hazel.
isn't going to go well. It never does.
Hazel. Where is it?
Nat 20.
Whoa!
She actually, as you guys are watching, because she's just got entirely into it. She's tried a whole new style of French plaits on either side for Skylar.
Oh my goodness! How the hell? Yeah, I'm gonna ask.
I like this. Thank you. Pounce.
I'm not even gonna ask. 'Cause
I am very impressed.
Nora, I think
Surprised as all get out, but very impressed.
Nora, I think I'm gonna say Paylor works in mysterious ways.
I will
And
agree
just
with
leave
you.
it at that.
I think the chasm changed all of us. This was just not a change I expected.
Hey.
The only question is if she's ever going to do that with her own hair. Nora actually probably knows from having experienced the first time Hazel ever had her hair the way she is why the answer is no. Does anyone have anything else they want to do with breakfast?
I wanted to do something after breakfast.
Okay.
I wanted to go up to Kander's room and see how he's doing.
Yeah, he's doing fine. It's the boys' room, so Noop has apparently, when he's not pestering Clarity, has decided that that Clarity would want him to look after her own. So he's currently sitting on his feet with the breakfast tray, going, "People are weird, nice, but I don't know if I should be trusting it."
I know the feeling. It's kind of my whole feeling about everything lately, too. But you get sort of used to it. How did you
Well,
sleep?
Really well. Just want to
That's
say
good.
Just want to say something though.
Oh, yeah?
Hold that a hand. I'll try if you do.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Besides, if I end up in this family, you pretty much adopted me as a sister already, so it kind of works out.
I really have. That's actually why I came up here. I was just going to say that, I know this is weird and new for you, and it's weird and new for me. So, if you find that you don't like it for any reason whatsoever, just tell me. I'm going to have to leave from time to time, but I will come back and I will check up on you. And if for any reason whatsoever you don't want to stay here, I will find you somewhere where you can call home.
Okay.
All right?
Except, one thing I'll say, just to maybe it'll ease your mind a little bit because I see you're actually more stressy about it than I am. They got some neat plants out there, and they were talking about. He holds up this cup of of some kind of medicinal tea. They know a lot about how to use this stuff, and they're not saying that I gotta do stuff for them. They're saying they're gonna teach me things, and they were talking about this guy in town who makes potions, except he's not really nice about people like me or people like you or people who can do magic-y stuff. And they were saying how they bet that if I wanted to set up a business of my own someday, then they'd be happy to help me be competition for this word they said they weren't going to say, but I said it for them, and they said we understand, but they don't really want kids using it, even if they come from my background. So there's stuff to stick around for. Try not to worry too much. I think you worry too much.
Well, it comes a lot from my own experiences, and I was once somewhere where it was better than being on the streets, but it wasn't somewhere where I was always very happy. And I want you to know, just right off the bat, that
Did they love you?
no. I mean, my brother did, but my
they don't own the
parents-
house. They don't own the house.
Mm-mm.
Well, the ladies, they're real careful not to say it because they don't want to scare me. But you were right when you said they would.
I know.
So I think that makes a big difference.
It does. It makes all the difference in the world.
So try not to worry. I'm gonna be okay. I'm not gonna just run off if for some reason I find the place with the good food and the people wanting to teach me things and the conversation and learning a trade and making my own living one day. If any of that seems like a really bad idea, like I've completely lost my mind, then I'll tell you.
All right.
And then he sort of leans up, grabs Clarity, and drags her in for a hug. Pat, 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 pat. Stop stressing.
Candor, ladies and gentlemen.
Go on. You've got stuff you got to do, and they apparently want to fuss over me for at least another day.
Well, you deserve some fussing. You need to be fussed over more. All the fussing.
Well, I get to find out what it's like. I've never really
Yeah.
seen it before, so new
I
experience.
know.
You were saying
It's amazing.
it is.
It's weird, but it's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. Weird is not just bad. That's kind of awesome. The tieflings, ladies and gentlemen.
So I wave and go back downstairs.
So, assuming that everybody's more or less done with things at the Hearth Hearts, we will wend to the end of our session with the Cupcake Coterie heading out to town. Now, I'm sure we were missing someone next week. We were missing
That's me.
Thurston. He might actually want to spend the day in his new meditation area rather than making the trek into town. But in that sort of situation, you might be able to surprise him with a Barreras home visit if he wants portraits of the parents. And it's up to him whether he wants to ask for that or not.
He probably would.
So he might just not be up to town right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the week after that one, or the session after that one.
Yeah, we're gonna need to discuss that because I'm not 100% convinced of my ability to record things. But we'll try to get a tutorial in with me and Ethan later on. But
Anyway.
we'll leave it at the Hazel, Clarity, Darvin, and Nora heading into town, and Froseth reacclimating himself to Hearthhome family and his new meditation space.